They've been, they've been playing the same clip of Shinzo Abe over and over again. I feel like I can easily recognize all of the language that they're going to use because they just keep talking about the exact same Shinzo Abe clip over and over and over again. This is actually amazing to always have on in the background. Look, I'm going to tell you something most people are going to be unwilling to tell you if you speak to most people my age. And that's, before you start up an ambitious project, before you say, I'm going to put everything into this one aspect of my life or this one thing that I want to strive towards, have your own house in order first. And what I mean by this is doing the necessary things within your room to make sure it's clean, that when you wake up, you know that you're going to wake up in a fine space to work, there's not stuff everywhere, everything that you need to attack the task at hand is right there, and you don't need to worry about clutter stopping you from that. Just the fact that you've made everything get in order in the first place is one step towards progress on the first day. Human beings are animals that like dopamine. We like to know that we're getting things done. The fact that I have Japanese on all the time in the background is not enough for me to say that I'm making tangible progress towards the goal that I have. We don't really see things in terms of the 2,000 kanji characters in the next year or so. We only see things in terms of what's happening right now. Therefore, when your studies get slower, when you're just grinding and grinding and grinding the way that you would to get to the inevitable goal in something like Pokemon, what you have to be doing is filling your life with smaller goals that you feel like you're attaining to eventually get to the bigger goal. And one of the main things that you can do immediately to show that you are ready for the task at hand, to show that you are able to attack what you need to attack in the future, is to start with your own house. Just the fact that you cleaned up your room and made up your bed is enough to show that you're ready for what's going to happen in the future. It gives you enough confidence to know that, hey, my place is tidy and it's because of me. It gives you that initial confidence that you need to start, and when you start, you just need to keep going from there. Every single success is made of hundreds and hundreds of failures, but those failures aren't necessarily what we see them as in the moment. They aren't this cloud of negativity impeding progress. Instead, failures are often what leads to the progress itself. If you continued on that same path without falling down a few times, you wouldn't learn where all of the places you can fall down are. Therefore, next time you walk down the path, you wouldn't know, and then you'd fall down again. So the fact that you learned where those pitfalls are in the first place is enough for you to not make those pitfalls next time. The thing about language learning is that it's constant exposure. You're not necessarily speaking from the beginning, because if you do that, those inevitable corrections of mistakes are just going to lead to the perpetuation of said mistakes. Instead, you have to continue listening and reading again and again and again. But the formulation of those skills is made up of hundreds and hundreds of mistakes and confusing moments where you really don't know what you're doing. That's why you have to immerse yourself in it. You have to have all Japanese all the time. It's not like I expect the journey ahead to be an easy one. Hell, it's not even like I expect the journey ahead to be a moderately difficult one. I know what it is ahead of me is difficult, but I also know what comprises difficulty is often made up of easier, smaller portions. So in order to reach that difficult peak that we're all seeking towards, we have to be able to defeat the smaller bosses at first until we can finally reach the big boss. And hey, by the time that you beat all those smaller ones, you've leveled up to those easier degrees, you're gonna be at the level where the big boss doesn't seem so big anymore. It's all about where you can begin right now. And where you can begin right now is taking in those sentences, cleaning your room at first, and of course, always having this on in the background to remind you of certain words that you already know. And maybe, just maybe, give you the context for future ones by virtue of hearing them over and over again. Boy, oh boy, I wish I had enough knowledge of the internet some time ago to know about this YouTube DL program, which I currently have running on my Linux machine because my other computer doesn't have enough space on its hard drive to be able to download all of this stuff. But I'm downloading all of my videos onto this computer right here, because I, as many of you might know, do not save my videos because I don't have enough space. I make too many of them to be able to save them, and so the idea of being able to download all of them is pretty appealing to me, because I don't want to have to cycle through each of them to press download, and if it has copyrighted music, to not be able to download certain videos. I would have to go to an external site instead of just using the built-in feature YouTube has. So the fact that I can use this YouTube DL program to download all of my videos and then just have them as an archive on my computer is pretty fucking awesome. And thank God for the people who made this program, because at a certain point I would have to archive my videos through just going through each of them individually, which would be terrible. I know a lot of us hard and brewed anime fans out there simply hate the idea of not watching an entire show. This is a major problem that I have, is that I'm often unable to finish a show, and there'll be tons and tons of other anime that I want to watch, but I'll tell myself I have to complete the show, because completing the show as an anime fan is somehow this mythical idea that, you know, you just have to uphold in order to be a true fan. I go on 8chan a lot, and I go on the A board, and if you looked at it first glance without any knowledge of the cultural linguistics of the anime community, you would assume that everyone on there hates anime. The same thing with V. If you go on the video games board, you would assume that everyone on there hates video games, which isn't the case. It's just that people get disenfranchised with the medium because they keep forcing themselves to finish shows that they do not like. And if they don't do that, then they can't discuss on these boards with other people about all these other shows. And so for them, the meaning behind the show comes more in how they can discuss it with other people than it actually does with what they got out of the show itself. So they don't care about what they're watching, they just care about what they can say about what they're watching after they watch it, which is not something that interests me at all. I just lurk boards. I never post on them. Well, maybe I'll post a link or something if someone needs help, but I'll almost never post on them. And so, very often I read through these discussions and I try to watch the shows along with the people, just so I can get this communal sense of community, that I can feel like I'm participating in something that they're all doing. But it never works for me. I never end up wanting to finish the show because the show is not something that I would like. It's just something that everyone else is watching, and I want to be able to understand what they're saying on an image board. This is totally counterproductive as an anime fan. Now, I've gotten to the point where I've started to view anime, the entirety of anime, is just bad. Now, this is a medium that's made me cry many times in comparison to other mediums. This is a medium that has some of my favorite media in general ever. And yet, it's also the medium that I always go around and I say, oh, it's trash. Most of it's bad. It's terrible. Because for all of the shows that I love and that I think are good enough to finish, there's a bunch of other shows that I've forced myself to watch through sheer willpower that are just bad. And I think because of me watching all of those bad shows, it's kind of tainted my view of the medium. Therefore, each time I watch a show and I think it's bad and I don't want to finish it, as soon as I have that thought, I should just drop it. There is absolutely no reason to continue a show that means nothing to me, that I don't care about. Why would I do that? Why would I watch a show that I don't like? Like, on a logical level, this just makes no sense to me. But I do it anyway because I want my completed list on Mal to be larger, and I want to be able to understand what other people in the community are saying. It's stupid. And so, I think, as I take the plunge to get back into the medium, I have to be watching shows that I care about, which does not constitute hours upon hours of seasonal trash and what everyone else is talking about. Those videos are still downloading, by the way. Which one are we at right now? Oh, wow. We're getting quite some way. We're at comfiness, forgiveness, and moving on. I made that video like 3 months ago, or 4 months ago. So, we're about 103 videos through of the 435.